All right, ready to dive into Everyday Millionaires.
Definitely.
The book by Chris Hogan claims to reveal the secrets of how regular people build wealth,
Yeah.
and it's based on a massive survey of over 10,000 real-life millionaires.
Wow.
Not just theories, but real stories. That's what got me hooked right from the beginning.
I think that's what's so fascinating about it. We often hear, those like rags to riches stories.
Right.
But this book actually breaks down the data behind them.
Yeah.
And what's really surprising is that most millionaires didn't win the lottery or inherit a fortune.
Well,
It's much more about choices and habits than luck.
exactly. Hogan starts by debunking some common myths, right? Like, it's not about having a high-paying job or, fancy degrees or anything like that,
Right.
or striking it rich quick.
Yeah.
He found that the majority of millionaires in his study are self-made,
Mm.
and they built their wealth over time through
Wow.
consistent effort.
That's right. And a lot of them don't even have those like elite careers we might associate with wealth. Yeah.
Like we're talking about teachers, small business owners,
Yeah.
even blue-collar workers who became millionaires through disciplined saving and investing.
Okay, well, that's encouraging. But how do they do it? The book dives into this millionaire mentality,
Right.
which I found intriguing. It's not just about being good with money, is it?
You got it. Hogan identifies 3 key traits that these everyday millionaires share:
Okay.
responsibility, vision, and resilience.
Makes sense.
They take responsibility for their financial future instead of, blaming external factors.
Right.
They set clear goals and have a long-term vision, and they don't let setbacks derail them.
That makes sense. It's about, having a proactive mindset and not getting discouraged when things get tough.
Exactly.
But what about specific actions? What kind of habits and strategies do these millionaires use to actually build wealth?
Well, Hogan outlines 4 core habits that seem pretty straightforward, but are clearly powerful.
Living below your means, avoiding debt, budgeting and tracking finances, and of course, saving and investing early.
Let's break those down a bit. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people struggle with that first one, living below their means in today's world.
Right.
I mean, there's so much pressure to keep up with appearances,
Yeah,
and it's easy to overspend without even realizing it.
absolutely. Hogan calls out that keeping up with the Joneses mentality as a major obstacle to building wealth.
Yeah.
It's about resisting the temptation to buy things you don't need to impress people you might not even like.
Right, right.
Millionaires prioritize their long-term financial goals over instant gratification.
Easier said than done. But I guess that's where the budgeting and tracking come in.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your money, knowing where it's going, and making sure your spending aligns with your values and goals.
Right.
Hogan is a big advocate for creating a detailed budget that tracks your income and expenses,
Okay.
which can help you identify areas where you can cut back and free up more money to save and invest.
And speaking of investing, Hogan also emphasizes the power of compounding, especially when you start early. This can seem a bit abstract to some people. Could you break that down a little bit further?
Sure. Imagine like a snowball rolling down a hill.
Okay.
As it rolls, it picks up more snow, getting bigger and bigger. That's kind of how compound interest works.
Okay.
You earn interest on your initial investment, and then that interest earns more interest, creating a snowball effect over time.
So the earlier you start, the more time that snowball has to grow.
Precisely.
Right.
Even small amounts invested consistently over a long period can grow significantly thanks to the magic of compounding. This is why Hogan stresses the importance of starting to invest early, even if you can only contribute a small amount each month.
Makes sense. Now let's talk about debt. Hogan advocates for the debt snowball approach,
Yes.
which sounds pretty intense. What's that all about?
It's a strategy for paying off debt in a way that creates momentum and motivation. Instead of focusing on interest rates, you start by paying off your smallest debt first, regardless of the interest rate. Once that's paid off, you roll the amount you were paying on that debt into the next smallest debt, and so on.
So it's like building a snowball of debt payments.
Exactly. And as you pay off each debt, you gain a sense of accomplishment and motivation, which helps you keep going. It's a psychological approach that can be really effective for people who feel overwhelmed by debt.
That's really interesting. I think a lot of people could benefit from that approach. Now, Hogan also mentions Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps to financial freedom,
Yeah,
which I've heard about, but I haven't really delved into.
sure.
Could you explain how those fit into this whole everyday millionaire concept?
Absolutely. Hogan presents these steps as a proven roadmap to financial security. They break down the process into manageable steps, making it less daunting for people who might feel overwhelmed by the idea of building wealth. The first step is building a small emergency fund to cover unexpected expenses.
Okay. So, having a safety net is crucial before tackling anything else.
Exactly. Once you have that small emergency fund, the next step is to focus on paying off all debt except for your mortgage,
Okay.
using that snowball method we discussed earlier. Then you build up a full emergency fund to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses.
So it's all about building a solid foundation first before moving on to bigger goals.
Precisely. After you've tackled your debt and built up your emergency fund, the next steps involve investing 15% of your income for retirement, saving for your children's college if you have any, paying off your mortgage early, and finally, building wealth and giving.
That sounds like a comprehensive plan. It's interesting how Hogan combines these practical steps with the mindset aspects we talked about earlier.
Right.
It seems like both are equally important in achieving financial success.
You're absolutely right. It's not just about the numbers. It's about having the right mindset, habits, and strategies in place to make those numbers work for you.
Yeah.
And what's really inspiring is that Hogan backs up these principles with real-life stories of everyday millionaires who followed these steps to achieve financial independence.
That's what I love about this book, right? It's not just theory. It's filled with examples of real people who started from ordinary circumstances and achieved extraordinary results. So tell me, what kind of diverse profiles did Hogan feature in the book?
Well, as we mentioned before, there were teachers, small business owners, blue-collar workers, you name it. He highlights people from all walks of life who prove that becoming a millionaire isn't about your profession or background.
Right.
It's about making smart choices and sticking to your plan.
Yeah. Okay.
For example, he talks about a couple who were both teachers
Wow.
and managed to retire early as millionaires by living frugally, investing consistently, and avoiding debt.
That's incredible. It really reinforces the idea that anyone can do this if they have the right approach.
Exactly. And he also features stories of entrepreneurs who built successful businesses from scratch, highlighting the importance of hard work, innovation, and reinvesting profits wisely. These stories aren't about getting rich quick schemes. They're about building wealth through dedication and smart financial decisions.
I'm really curious to hear more about these inspiring stories and how they connect to the overall message of the book. But before we jump into that, let's take a quick pause. We'll be right back to delve deeper into everyday millionaires and explore how these principles can help you on your own journey to financial freedom.
Welcome back to our deep dive into everyday millionaires. Before the break, we were discussing the inspiring stories of those who achieved financial success through dedication and smart choices.
Yeah, those stories really highlight how those principles from the book can translate into real-world results. Can you share a specific example that really stood out to you?
One that comes to mind is the story of a firefighter who became a millionaire.
Wow, a firefighter.
Yeah, he didn't have a high salary, but he consistently invested a portion of his income in low-cost index funds.
Okay.
He took advantage of his employer's 401k matching program and diligently saved for retirement.
Hold on. I know we're trying to avoid jargon here,
Right.
but for those who might not be familiar, could you just briefly explain what index funds and 401ks are?
Of course. An index fund is like a basket of stocks that tracks a specific market index, such as the S&P 500.
Okay.
It's a simple and relatively low-cost way to invest in a diversified portfolio of stocks.
Okay.
A 401k is a retirement savings plan offered by many employers. It allows you to contribute pre-tax income, which can reduce your current tax burden and often includes an employer match. Essentially, free money.
Ah, okay. That's helpful. Thanks for clarifying that. So this firefighter utilized those tools to build his wealth over time. It seems like patience and consistency were key factors in his success.
Absolutely. He understood the power of long-term investing and didn't get swayed by market fluctuations.
Right.
He stuck to his plan and let compound interest work its magic over decades.
It's fascinating how he was able to achieve this with, a modest income.
Yeah.
It really challenges the assumption that you need a six-figure salary to become wealthy.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important point Hogan makes in the book, the concept of generosity.
Oh.
Many of the millionaires he surveyed are incredibly generous individuals. They give back to their communities, support charities, and see wealth as a tool to make a positive impact.
That's inspiring. It kind of shifts the perspective from wealth being solely about personal gain
Right.
to, using it as a force for good.
Precisely. These individuals understand that true wealth encompasses more than just financial abundance. It's about living a purposeful life and using your resources to make a difference in the world.
It's a beautiful concept. Now, I'm sure some listeners might be feeling a mix of inspiration and maybe a bit of overwhelm. I mean, building wealth can seem like this, huge, daunting mountain to climb.
Yeah.
What advice does Hogan offer for those who might be feeling stuck or unsure where to start?
He addresses this directly in the book by tackling common excuses people make for not pursuing financial independence.
Okay.
He acknowledges that there are real challenges, but he also provides practical counterpoints and encourages readers to focus on what they can control.
Like what kind of excuses? I'm sure many of us have been guilty of making them at some point.
One common one is, I don't earn enough.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Hogan debunks this by highlighting that wealth building is more about controlling spending and saving a percentage of your income than your actual income level.
Right.
He provides examples of individuals with modest incomes who became millionaires by diligently saving and investing over time.
So it's not about waiting for like a big raise or windfall.
Right.
It's about making smart choices with the resources you have.
Exactly. Another excuse is, it's too late for me to start. Hogan emphasizes that it's never too late to make positive financial changes. He shares stories of people who started investing later in life, but still achieved significant financial success through focused effort and consistency.
So the key is to just take action, regardless of your age or your current financial situation.
Absolutely. And finally, he addresses the excuse that the system is rigged against everyday people.
Ah, yeah. I've heard that one.
While acknowledging that systemic factors can present challenges, he stresses that individual effort and smart choices still make a huge difference.
Right.
It's about taking ownership of your financial life and taking proactive steps to build a brighter future.
That's a powerful message. So even though those external factors may exist, we still have the power to shape our own financial destinies.
Precisely. And Hogan offers practical tips for aspiring millionaires. He encourages people to start small. Begin with a simple step, like saving $10 a week, or paying off a single debt. It's about building momentum and proving to yourself that you can make progress.
Small steps can lead to big results over time, right?
Exactly. He also emphasizes the importance of education. Read books like Everyday Millionaires, explore online resources, or consider seeking guidance from a financial advisor.
Right.
The more you learn about personal finance, the more empowered you'll become.
Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to finances.
And remember, consistency is key. Hogan emphasizes that wealth building is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be ups and downs in the market and in life.
Yeah.
But sticking to your plan, even when progress seems slow, is crucial.
So it's about having that long-term perspective and not getting discouraged by short-term setbacks.
Absolutely. He also encourages people to involve their families in the process. Teaching children about money from a young age can have a profound impact on their financial literacy and future success.
Makes sense. It's about building healthy financial habits as a family and creating a positive legacy for future generations. Now, we've covered a lot of ground here. Debunking myths, exploring the millionaire mindset, uncovering practical habits, and even tackling those common excuses. As we transition into the final part of our deep dive, what stands out to you as like the most impactful message from Everyday Millionaires?
For me, it's that core message that anyone can achieve financial independence. It's about choices, not circumstances. Wealth building isn't reserved for, the elite or those with special advantages. It's attainable for anyone willing to put in the effort, develop the right mindset, and take consistent action. And I think that's a truly empowering message.
I agree. And I'm excited to continue this conversation and explore how these principles can be applied, in a practical way to help our listeners achieve their own financial goals. But before we do that, let's take a quick pause to gather our thoughts.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back with the final part of our deep dive into Everyday Millionaires.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on quite a journey exploring everyday millionaires and uncovering the secrets behind, ordinary people achieving extraordinary financial success.
It's been a very insightful exploration. We've debunked myths, delved into the millionaire mindset, and discovered practical habits and strategies that can empower anyone to build wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that keeps resonating with me is this idea that wealth building is a journey, not a destination. It's about, making choices that align with your values and finding fulfillment in the process of creating a more secure and meaningful future.
I think that's a crucial point. It's not just about reaching a certain net worth. It's about the life you create along the way. It's about using your resources wisely to achieve your goals, pursue your passions, and make a positive impact on the world around you.
So it's not just about the money itself, but what the money allows you to do and the person you become in the process, right? Exactly. And Hogan's book emphasizes that this journey isn't a solo endeavor. He highlights the importance of involving your family and creating a shared vision for your financial future.
That's so important, right? It's about building healthy financial habits as a family and passing on those values to future generations.
Absolutely. And he also encourages readers to celebrate their successes along the way. It's about acknowledging your progress, no matter how small, and using that momentum to fuel your continued efforts.
That's a great reminder. Sometimes we get so focused on the end goal that we forget to appreciate the steps we're taking to get there.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the most important takeaway is that building wealth is within reach for anyone willing to put in the effort. It's about, shifting your mindset, developing healthy financial habits, and taking consistent action, even if it's just one small step at a time.
So instead of asking, can I become a millionaire?
Mm.
The question becomes, what step can I take today to start building a more secure financial future?
Precisely. It's about empowering yourself to take control of your finances, make informed choices, and create the future you desire. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are resources available, books like Everyday Millionaires, financial advisors, and even online communities that can provide support and guidance along the way.
That's such an important point. It's about, finding the resources and support you need to navigate this journey with confidence and clarity. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into Everyday Millionaires. Thanks for joining us as we explored the world of wealth building and uncovered the secrets to achieving financial success.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you. Remember, building wealth is a journey, and the most important step is the one you take today. So take that step, stay consistent, and keep learning. You might just surprise yourself with what you can achieve.
Until next time, keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.